Hi, welcome back to Lightworker Training. My name is Tatiana, here as promised with a video specifically about this tool for cultivating more consciousness, and it's asking the question, who does that belong to? So let's get into it. If you want to get more information about something, like in this case, we're looking at, whose thought is that, whose feeling is that, what kinds of programs am I running here in the mental realm? We're mostly focused on mental stuff in this chapter, but you can apply this to anything. And I've talked about how it's possible for us to feel other people's feelings, think other people's thoughts, and even experience other people's physical symptoms in our bodies. Okay, so if you want to know what kinds of mental programs you're running, then it's really important to start observing, start cultivating this witness kind of energy. Observing what is going on inside, right? And I mean, you'll start to see it all around you too. It's everywhere. But these subtle energies, when we first start cultivating our awareness and discernment, I recommend starting within, right? Go with it or go without. And so if you want to know what programs you're running, then you want to start cultivating this observational consciousness, observing your thoughts. And it's a little tricky because our thoughts can go really fast. A lot of times you don't even know exactly what you've been thinking until you start having an emotional reaction to the thoughts, or until you start feeling like a collapsing or an excitement or an agitation in the physical body. So, it takes practice to get really skillful at observing your thoughts in the moment. But if you want to be in choice, because I've talked about this, right, that we actually can choose our thoughts. So if we would like to choose the thoughts that we're creating our reality with, then we have to start cultivating this observational awareness and know what are these programs, right? I've talked about this in the video program or be programmed. So if you're not actively going through and deleting the mental programs that aren't serving you, or maybe they are serving you in some way, right? I believe everything works for us on some level. Okay, but if you want to facilitate a faster experience in working through this stuff and getting to a place of mastery where things start to get a little bit more fun, because it's not that fun when you first start any kind of training. It's really not that fun. It's a struggle, and as you get stronger, as you get more skillful, then you start to have more fun with it. But if you'd like to get to that place of building the skills and having more fun faster, then I recommend getting in there and getting really clear on what the programs are that you're running, so that you can start rewriting the programs and creating the kinds of mental programs that are going to serve you as far as what you're manifesting. It's okay to have beliefs, in my point of view. It's just, is that belief serving you? So the beliefs really should be our servants instead of, vice versa, which is usually how it works in this world. We're given this kind of a belief system, and we've been trained very well to just take in other people's programs, and run those programs rather than create our own. So if you want to be the programmer of your reality, keep listening. So observation is key, because we need to receive more information. So through our observation and cultivating more consciousness and being curious, we're collecting all this data, right? Receiving, perceiving, collecting. Oh, wow, that's that. And that's that. Oh, wow, that was that thing. Oh, wow, cool. So if we're not sure, we can always ask questions. Be curious, open up to receive more info. This is a really powerful posture, and it's also very vulnerable, right? I think a lot of times we go around like this, just, oh, I gotta figure it out. 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 I gotta read more about it. I gotta see what this person says, what this person says, And it's like, really release the death grip and open up. This is very powerful posture. The more trauma you have, the more you've shut down, the harder it can be to stand in this, and it's okay. You don't have to stand in this all the time. Just when you want to receive more info, yeah, slowing down and just soaking in the information. Then from that place, we got to move back into that left brain, right? The reason why you have to stop with the left brain, like figure it out, figure it out, figure it out, analyze, the reason why you have to get out of it is because the left brain can't create anything. Or it's also kind of a throat energy. You're not creating anything here. You have to go up to the executive functioning branch and create from that place. So you want to go to your creative, intuitive, imaginational mind, also known as the right brain kind of mindset, and open and receive the impressions. So this can take some practice because we've actually been trained to suppress the imagination and that more open, vulnerable, creative kind of space. Okay, so if you feel shut down in that, just hang in there. And sometimes fake it till you make it is a good way of running some of these things. You might feel like I'm not getting it, and then one day, boom, it's going to start clicking in. You'll find your own way of working the tools. And that comes with just practicing. Practice sucking at something for a while, and you'll get better at it. Let's see. So this openness, asking, receiving information, receiving more impressions. From there, you got to go back into sort it out in the discernment. And this is where the more left brain analytical stuff comes in. But also, it's got to move down into the heart space and feel into it. Feel into it with your heart. Your heart is going to know things. Your crown is going to know things. Your heart is going to know things. Your body is going to know things. So whatever your strong suit is, you can lean into that for how you receive information. So you've got to feel your way through it and feel into like, oh, was that my belief? Was that their belief? Was that just some rando entity like trying to hook into my space? Is that the Borg trying to get trying to get me in the hive mind? So it could be any number of things. It doesn't really matter as far as this tool goes. This tool will work whether it's your thought, an inner child self, some programming from your parents, from your schools, some stuff from the collective mind, some parasitic entity. It doesn't matter with this tool. You can use it for any of those things. So once you sort out the energy and use your discernment, you got to take action. And through the action and the results of that action, you're going to get more information, more data for your experiments. Your experiments here in the Earth lab. So if you take action on your observations and your discernment of that energy, you're probably going to have better outcomes, better results in the lab than if you just have all this information that's who knows where it's coming from. You're just acting on something that somebody else's belief or some trauma-based program from childhood, or you're just acting on a emotion without the data collection piece, or so when you do this process, then you're actually going to get better outcomes. And so as you get these outcomes, you'll start to see like, yeah, I liked that thing. I didn't love that thing. I could have done that better. Oh, I forgot to ask about this, so you'll get more info as you go along. So when we're taking these actions, if we're not discerning, if we're not asking and getting the information just in using our discernment, then chances are we're acting on other people's programs, other people's thoughts, other people's feelings, other people's beliefs about things, other people's stories, other people's pain. What I found is that 99% of the thoughts and things that I feel in my emotional and physical body are not mine. They're not mine. The parts that are mine, a lot of times they belong to a younger part of self. So that's important to sort out. But I found the more I work this tool of asking, who does that belong to? Who does that belong to? Who does that belong to? The more I see there's not a lot going on in here. And honestly, I think that's maybe how we're supposed to be. I hate to say it that way, but I just don't know how else to say it right now. But I think we were actually created to be more in the space of being and knowing and feeling and acting, right? But more of a place of being and knowing than thinking and figuring stuff out. That's not to say there aren't some things to be figured out, to think about. Yeah, that's great if you got to build a shed or something. Okay, so if you're not asking, chances are you're running someone else's programs. And how's that working out for you? Because who fucking cares unless it's actually being a benefit for you in your life, right? Otherwise, what does it matter? And I know that if it's a benefit in your life, it's going to benefit everyone. That's how it works. So, how do you know if you're running somebody else's program or not if you don't ask? Yikes. Oh my God. I didn't know this until I heard it. I heard it from an access consciousness practitioner. And I said, wow, that's genius. I felt it immediately when she asked, who does that belong to? I was like, holy shit, that wasn't mine. I just knew it. So maybe you don't have this kind of knowing. So I would invite you to be open and practice this, the openness to receive, right? Be open to however your spirit communicates to you. And everybody's messages are a little bit different. I tend to just know things without knowing how I know it. I can't explain it. And I also get the feelings in my body. I could feel certain energies in my body, but I don't know what it is until I ask a question. Then I get the awareness. of what it is just by knowing. Some people, um, they receive their insights and impressions through visuals. They see things. Some people hear messages. So just be open, it might just be you see a picture of something in your mind, or you see it out pictured, or you get some kind of impression or a vague knowingness or feeling about something. You're not sure why you thought, well, why did I think, that, why did my mom pop into my mind? Well, if you ask the question, who does that belong to? And your mom pops into your mind, it's probably your mom. Just saying. So it takes some practice to not gaslight yourself, because we were taught that imagination isn't real, that things that we imagine or see or perceive in the invisible realms, that's not a real thing. But I would say, why did you imagine that specific thing when you were asking that question? You could have imagined anything. You could have imagined a stick of butter. Who does that belong to? A stick of butter, then I would say, well, I don't know, which that's something I love about this work. Sometimes it's just a mystery. And then we get to practice just being in the mystery and being like, wow, I really don't know. And that's fun, right? It wouldn't be that fun if we already knew everything. Why would we even be here? So for this practice, for this video, for this piece, I recommend just practicing asking the question, who does that belong to? And notice any impressions. And see if you could do this. The more widely you apply the tool, without any regard to the significance. So if you ask about something that just is a fleeting thought, and then you also ask about something that feels really intense or really fraught, that's good. You want to apply it to things that feel both highly charged and not at all charged. And then that will teach you that you can just know things regardless of how intense it is. Sometimes it helps for some folks to start with things that are seemingly insignificant and then work up to things that are more intense. I say just apply it whenever you can think about it, because that's the tricky part with this consciousness raising work, is just to remember. Sometimes I liken this realm to walking through the poppy field in the movie The Wizard of Oz, where they're walking through the poppies and they fall asleep. Like, there's no way you're going to walk through this life without falling asleep. So, we can have compassion with ourselves, and just whenever we think about it, and it'll start to become more of a habit. And, I ask all day long, wow, who does that belong to? Who does that belong to? Who does that belong to? And it really helps to keep my field super clear. So here's the amazing thing: whether it seems like you get an answer and or you don't, it can still shift the energy. It can still shift the energy, because you're going from a mindset that it's yours to maybe it's not mine. And so in that, there's this opening, and it might just leave your space. And this happens a lot. Just by asking the question, you release your hold on it. You're like, oh, what is this thing I'm holding? And you open up your hand to look at it, it might just fall out of your hand. And then you go, wow, I guess that wasn't even mine. Holding on to that thought that wasn't even mine. Bless it all. Let's see. I think that's all I want to talk about for this one today. Just ask the question, who does that belong to? Who does that belong to? Who does that belong to? Now, if you like, you can add in a command, which is return to sender. Who does that thought belong to that I totally fucked up right now? Oh, I feel like maybe some of it's mine, but some of it's not mine. Okay, so the part that's not mine, return to sender, return to sender. This is me just sending it back. You make up your own hand things. I love hand gestures, as you can tell. Watching these videos, I'm always, doing stuff with my hands. Just send it back. So who does that belong to? Return to sender. Who does that belong to? Return to sender. Who does that belong to? Return to sender. And you just can command the energy out of your space if it's not yours. So if you say, who does that belong to? Return to sender. If it lightens up or leaves your space, it wasn't yours. Running other people's programs is very heavy. Being the energy of the not self is pretty oppressive. It's like wearing clothes that don't fit you, So it gets a lot lighter. That's a good sign that it wasn't even yours. So like I said, you can do this for thoughts, feelings, symptoms, or sensations in the body. Who does that pain belong to? If it's not mine, return to sender. And if you clear out all the crap that's not yours, then your mind, emotions, and body can easily heal anything, easily process, because you won't be able to process things that aren't yours. If you're holding on to them, then you'll be in this place of being stuck and not being able to process through. We're fucking miraculous, okay? So we can still do some healing and some processing, even when we're bogged down with a bunch of other people's shit. However, it gets so much faster and easier when you're just dealing with your own shit instead of taking on everybody else's stuff. All right, so I hope that's motivating. I hope this has been inspirational. If you have questions or comments, have you done this tool? A lot of people do know about this tool, which is fantastic. So if you've tried it and you have any little tips for anybody, please drop them in the comments. And if you have any questions, please put those in the comments too, and I'll share with you whatever I have to share. Not like I know everything, but I'm happy to share whatever information I have or things that I have learned. And I'm so grateful, really, for the opportunity to share that. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time on Lightworker Training. Bye for now.